I want to applaud, first of all, Senator Heitkamp and Senator Capito for leading the effort to update and improve this tax credit for carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration. We have 25 Democrats and Republicans, totally bipartisan. And when you have Senator Whitehouse and Senator Barrasso on a bill, you know you got a real bill. It can happen. So that's very encouraging. Here's Senator Capito and I come from West Virginia, and Senator Heitkamp from energy-producing state of North Dakota. Coal was one of the most abundant energy sources in the world. It's laying in most continents, and most countries have it, and they're going to use it. It's a very efficient way of producing energy because it's plentiful.
Would the senator yield for a question?
Yes, sir.
Does the senator know that in Cumberland, Rhode Island, there used to be coal mining? In fact, there's still coal mines underground in Cumberland, West Virginia, and every once in a while one collapses. So we've been there.
So encouraged that you remember the history of your great state and not forgetting those coal miners. With that being said, we got to face the facts, the realization. There's 8 billion tons of coal being burnt in the world. 8 billion tons on an annual basis. We burn less than 1 billion in the United States of America. And we're the country that's done more to clean up the environment than any other country. They all talk about doing different things, but we have taken the SOx and the NOx and the mercury out and the particulates. We have done more in the last 2 decades than has ever been done. And there's more that can be done, but I got to be very honest with you. The last 8 years was very, very challenging and difficult for us. No one wanted to make the effort. They talked a good game, but no one would put the investment into the technology that was needed. Now we have this piece of bill, bipartisan, everybody's working hard on, has a chance to really put us in the forefront of how we utilize this carbon capture and sequestration. West Virginia has one of the first power plants, the Mountaineer plant, that showed that it can be done commercially. We did a commercial test there. We know it can be done. We know it's expensive. When, at the time, President Obama said, go ahead and build a coal plant and we'll break you, he knew it wasn't financially feasible, and that's where that statement came from. First of all, coal is a baseload fuel. There's only 2 baseload fuels in the world today. Baseload is 24/7 uninterrupted power. That's coal and nuclear. Gas has now replaced coal in the United States of America, being more plentiful for production of energy that we depend on, but it still can be interruptible because the gas pipelines could be sabotaged. They could break. Weather conditions could change that. So with that being said, you have to make sure that the people of the United States of America that have been always used and dependent upon turning the switch on or their heat and their power or opening the refrigerator and everything's working, it comes because you have base load that's dependable, reliable, and affordable. So you're going to have that. And I think maybe in my grandchildren's lifetime, they're going to see maybe commercial hydrogen, which will be water vapor. I think that's coming. It's just not here yet. So we're going to use what we have and what we need and make sure we do it in the cleanest fashion. The United States should be and will be the leader of this. So this is what helps us do it and gives us incentive to move forward on it. I've seen when we were doing scrubbers back in the 80s, the Clean Air Act, I'll never forget at the time, to do scrubbers to take sulfur out, you have to inject basically limestone. And this crushed limestone that basically clings to the sulfur, and the sulfur drops out in the form of the ash. What are you going to do with all this byproduct of this ash? Could it be detrimental? Is it hazardous? Guess what? A lot of the drywall you're using today is made out of the ash that came out of the new scrubbers that we didn't know that we were going to have a byproduct. So there's value. I still believe in my heart with this piece of legislation, we're going to find a valuable use of this waste. Can it be solidified? We know that we can take clear stream CO2 off. Can we solidify this CO2? Not just sequestering it, we're doing it in liquid form now, pressuring it into the ground. If you have oil or some other energy that's valuable to return back, then you can offset the cost. But in a lot of parts of the country, we don't have that oil. So we're not able to have a value return. So it's pure cost, and the cost is about a third of your production. Perfect example, if you have a 900 megawatt power plant and you have carbon capture sequestration, but you have no value in return, you lose 300 megawatts by pushing it into the ground. It makes it non-feasible financially, and that's when the statement came, build it and we'll break you. That's how they'll break you. You can't do it. So if we don't have to sequester it and pressure it in the ground, and we solidify this clear stream carbon from liquid to solids, can we use this spent fuel of a solid carbon, CO2? This is what we should be working on. These are the things we should be doing. But we've missed 8 years. We had a hiatus for 8 years. Let's catch up. This piece of legislation puts us on the path to make something happen, to truly make us unique in the world of what we do and how we do it. The rest of the world counts on us. All the other countries are talking about all the things they're doing in climate. Trust me, they're not. They're talking about it. They're not doing it. Now, even our allies, our NATO allies, aren't using what we've already developed and perfected. They're not using scrubbers. They're not using low NOx boilers, bag houses for mercury. It's not CO2 killing people in Beijing. It's basically particulates. It's particulates that we have taken out of the air. We can do this, but we need to work together. But we can't be fighting each other. There's not a West Virginian that I know of that wants to breathe dirty air or drink dirty water. There's not an American that wants to breathe dirty air or drink dirty water, and they're not going to. We have improved and will continue to improve. But you can't be pitting one environmental group against another manufacturing or production group. And that's what we've done. We're just tearing each other apart because we're picking sides. Are you for the environment or are you for the economy? I'm for both. I'm for the environment and I'm for the economy. And I think there's a balance between the two. And if we do the technology and the manufacturers or the producers of electricity refuse to use the technology that's proven, then they should be shut down. They get a certain period of time to retrofit. If they won't do it, then shut them down. We haven't gotten there yet on this, and that's why this piece of legislation is so important. There's all the working groups, environmental groups, everybody should be behind this, and we have an array of senators that have come together. Unlike most bills, we don't have this happen, Madam President, and I'm proud of what you've done. I'm proud of my good friend North Dakota. I'm proud of my friend in Rhode Island. I'm proud of my friend in Wyoming. Everybody coming together say, we're going to use it. Let's do it better. So with that, I say thank you. Thank you and all of us for working together on this and continue to move the United States of America forward. And West Virginia will do its part. I can assure you of that. And with that, I yield the floor.